Welcome to Trending Update USA. This is Steffan, and today we're diving deep into one of the most intriguing matchups fans could ask for at the Australian Open 2026, a clash that blends raw power, tactical brilliance, and two very different tennis philosophies as Coco Gauff goes head-to-head with Karolina Muchova on the blue courts of Melbourne Park. This is more than just another Grand Slam match. It's a collision of momentum, style, history, and expectation, and by the end of this breakdown we'll walk through the prediction, the odds landscape, and the smartest picks heading into what could be one of the most talked about encounters of the tournament. Coco Gauff arrives in Melbourne once again carrying the weight and confidence of a proven Grand Slam champion. Still young but already battle-hardened, Gauff's evolution over the past few seasons has been impossible to ignore. Her game, once defined almost entirely by athleticism and defensive brilliance, has matured into a far more complete package. The serve is heavier, more reliable under pressure, the forehand has gained penetration, and her court positioning has become more aggressive. At the Australian Open, conditions traditionally reward players who can move well, absorb pace, and turn defense into offense quickly, and that formula suits Gauff almost perfectly. She has learned how to manage long rallies in the heat, how to stay mentally locked in during momentum swings, and perhaps most importantly, how to close matches without letting doubt creep in. Across the net stands Karolina Muchova, one of the most elegant and intellectually fascinating players on the WTA Tour. When healthy, Muchova is a nightmare matchup for power players because she refuses to give them the same ball twice. Slice backhands, feathered drop shots, sudden net rushes, looping topspin, and flat redirects all blend together in a style that feels more like chess than checkers. The Australian Open has historically been a stage where Muchova's all-court creativity can shine, especially against opponents who like rhythm. But that same creativity comes with risk, and against an elite mover like Gauff, every gamble must be perfectly timed. The head-to-head narrative between these two adds another layer of intrigue. When Gauff and Muchova have shared the court in the past, the matches have often been defined by contrast. Gauff tries to impose pace, push rallies deep, and physically wear opponents down. Muchova tries to disrupt, pull Gauff forward, open up angles, and test her patience. In previous meetings, the key has usually been whether Muchova can consistently finish points when she creates openings, because giving Gauff extra looks at passing shots or defensive lobs is a dangerous game. Gauff's speed allows her to turn what should be winners into neutral balls, and that psychological pressure can force errors from even the most composed players. Coming into the Australian Open 2026, form is everything, and Coco Gauff's recent performances suggest she is peaking at exactly the right time. Her hard-court results leading into Melbourne have shown a player comfortable dictating points without overpressing. She has been serving with authority, especially out wide on the ad court, setting up short balls that she can attack early in the rally. Her return game remains one of the best in women's tennis, and against a player like Muchova, that could be decisive. Muchova's serve, while effective in terms of placement and disguise, doesn't generate the same free points as the biggest servers on tour, meaning rallies are likely to start more often than not. Karolina Muchova's path into this matchup tells its own story. Assuming she arrives in Melbourne healthy, her tennis IQ and versatility make her dangerous against anyone in the draw. She thrives in matches where she can vary tempo and force opponents to think rather than simply hit. Against Gauff, Muchova's biggest weapon may not be any single shot, but her ability to change patterns mid-rally. The drop shot, in particular, looms large. Gauff's court coverage is exceptional, but repeated forward sprints in the Australian heat can take a toll, especially in longer matches. If Muchova can disguise her drop shots well and follow them to the net, she can shorten points and protect her own legs. However, the risk for Muchova is that Gauff has grown far more comfortable playing inside the court than she was earlier in her career. She now anticipates the drop shot better, reads cues earlier, and has improved her touch when responding. Instead of simply pushing the ball back, Gauff has learned to counter with sharp angles or lobs that reset the point in her favor. That evolution narrows the margin Muchova must work within, and against a top-tier athlete, narrow margins can quickly become unforgiving. From a mental standpoint, Coco Gauff's Grand Slam experience gives her a clear edge. She has played and won on the biggest stages, under the brightest lights, with expectations roaring from every corner of the tennis world. The Australian Open crowds tend to respond strongly to energy and athleticism, and Gauff's intensity often draws vocal support. Muchova, while calm and composed, sometimes thrives better in quieter environments where she can impose her rhythm without distraction. In a packed Rod Laver arena, momentum swings can feel amplified, and Gauff's ability to ride emotional waves could prove crucial. When we look at the odds landscape for this matchup, sportsbooks are likely to position Coco Gauff as the favorite, reflecting her ranking, consistency, and recent hard-court success. Expect Gauff to open somewhere in the range of a moderate favorite, while Muchova sits as a tempting underdog for bettors who believe in stylistic upsets. The total games and set betting markets may be particularly interesting, because even in matches Gauff controls, Muchova's ability to steal games through variety could push sets longer than expected. Tie-break potential is real, especially if Muchova serves efficiently and avoids long service games. In terms of match flow, the opening set will be critical. Muchova often starts matches with heavy use of variation, testing her opponent's reactions and patience. If Gauff can weather that early storm, maintain depth, and avoid frustration when points get messy, she can gradually assert control. The longer rallies go, the more the physical edge tilts toward Gauff. Conversely, if Muchova can jump out to an early lead, forcing Gauff to press, the dynamic changes dramatically. Gauff has improved her ability to reset mentally after slow starts, but Muchova's knack for protecting leads through smart shot selection could make a quick recovery difficult. One tactical area to watch closely is the backhand-to-backhand exchange. Muchova's slice backhand is one of the best in the game, capable of staying low and skidding through the court. Gauff's two-handed backhand, while solid, can sometimes struggle to generate offense off low balls. If Muchova can consistently force that slice exchange and then change direction suddenly, she may draw errors or short replies. But again, Gauff's movement allows her to run around and use her forehand more frequently than many players, reducing the impact of that tactic over time. As the match progresses, fitness and resilience loom large. The Australian Open is notorious for brutal conditions, and extended rallies under the sun test not just muscles, but decision-making. Gauff's youth and conditioning give her an advantage in extended physical exchanges. Muchova, while incredibly skilled, has dealt with physical setbacks in the past, and managing her body through a high-intensity match against one of the fastest players on tour is a significant challenge. So where does the prediction land when all these elements come together? This matchup has upset potential, no question, but the balance of probabilities leans toward Coco Gauff. Her improved serve, elite movement, and growing tactical discipline make her well equipped to handle Muchova's variety over the course of a full match. Expect moments where Muchova dazzles, pulls Gauff out of position, and wins stretches of brilliant tennis. But over time, Gauff's consistency, physicality, and ability to absorb and redirect pressure should wear her opponent down. The most likely outcome is Coco Gauff winning in straight sets or in a competitive three-set battle, depending on how sharp Muchova is early. For picks, Gauff to win the match is the safer play, while more adventurous bettors might look at over games or a three-set match as value options, especially if Muchova's form coming in has been strong. Set betting on Gauff to win 2-1 could also offer appealing odds, reflecting Muchova's capacity to steal a set through tactical brilliance. In the end, this is exactly the kind of match that makes the Australian Open special. Power versus finesse, speed versus touch, youth versus experience, all colliding under the Melbourne sun. Coco Gauff enters as the favorite, but Karolina Muchova enters as the question mark capable of rewriting the script. Tennis fans should buckle in, because regardless of the final scoreline, this one promises drama, intelligence, and moments of breathtaking skill that remind us why the Grand Slams sit at the very heart of the sport.